Hi, this is Mark from LongIslandWatch.com, and a couple days ago, 2 or 3 days ago, I posted this on Instagram, and I want to do kind of like almost like a Reddit style Ask Me Anything, but I want to be able to filter through stuff. I don't like the whole Reddit the way they do stuff. So I ask people to post any questions. So if you're not on Instagram, I'm sorry you didn't get a chance to submit a question. But maybe you can start following me and watch the counter go up. But that's not why I did it. Just easy that way. About 200 people asked questions. Most of them unique, some of them copies of one another, but just about all of them questions and lots of good questions. What I did was I printed them all out. I'm not going to do 200 of them. I guess at this point there probably will be a part two. I'll do this again in the future at some point. If you like the format. So I picked questions, obviously, that I want to answer. It's not really an Ask Me Anything. It's an AMAA, Ask Me Almost Anything. But I also picked a mix of, because people ask, watch-specific questions and business-specific questions and just some other general questions. So I picked some from each. I highlighted them. I'll go over them. And here we go. So I don't think I'm going to do over like 35 to 40 questions. I'm going to try to keep it short. Hopefully, I don't know, my goal is 20 minutes. So it's 11:10 now. So let's see what happens. I might say the name. I might not say the name. If I forget, I apologize. SoCal Watch Reviews. Miguel asks me, when are you coming on the podcast? Miguel, invite me. Let's get it done. We'll do it. I'll plug his channel real quick. Instagram, SoCal Watch Reviews. YouTube, SoCal Watch Reviews, like Southern California Watch Reviews. Awesome. And while we're at it, also plug Minute Watch. Kurt, MINIT Watch. I think that's his YouTube channel. Really awesome. Makes me laugh all the time. Okay, so a Midwestern watch dude. Have you considered making an Islander chronograph? Yes, I have. Most of my philosophy is around low-hanging fruit and getting watches out of the way first that I can have the biggest bang for the buck on. Chronograph, definitely in my mind. It's not in the works, but it's in my brain to do. But I do not think I would do an automatic version. I would likely just do some kind of a quartz version to keep the price down. I'm not interested in doing a Swiss Auto. I wouldn't use a Seagull movement because I know too much about them. So would rather just do a quartz. Kelton Wagley, Islander Sarb when? A lot of people ask this one. Soon. It'll probably be in the first week of February. You're calling it the Islander Sarb. You've seen me do wrist shots of it. It's a 38 millimeter cross between a Sarb and a Datejust. Guy that works for me called it a Salex. Kind of funny. It'll be good. Miguel Romerogles. New logo update in the works, maybe with LIW. The logo is definitely one of the most controversial things on the Islander watch, which I'm actually not wearing. Well, I am wearing an Islander today, the Wave dial, but it doesn't have the logo on it. I went with a clean dial for here. I will tell you a little story. About a year and a half ago, no, it's probably about 2 years ago, actually, I started carrying a brand called Phoebus, Phoibos. Out the gate, it was the number one, and still is, the number one selling micro brand watch in my store. Obviously, Seiko and the Orient, the bigger names outsell it, Islander. But Phoebus, number one selling micro brand, up until I released the Islander, for obvious reasons. Phoebus, number one conflictory, polarizing logo with that big octopus or whatever it is. People think it looks like Hydra. So logo that a lot of people don't like, number one selling micro brand. Release the Islander, quickly becomes the number one selling brand in my store. Polarizing logo. What would you do? No, but I hear you. I understand. I happen to love the logo. It's everywhere in my life. Yes, it's a store logo. It became the watch logo. Well, but exposure's a little bit high. Will it always be the logo? I don't know. I might change it. I'm not planning on it right now. So the watch will either have a logo or it won't have a logo. Yes, it will be applied. There will be applied logo watches in the future, though. People have asked that question. Carballo Spearfishing. Why not mod Islander watches? And then someone else asked, why not just let us choose the bracelet? This is a toughie for me. I'm a little bit in a little bit of a quandary. It's a little bit of, dare I say, a financial quandary. If I give you the chance, the option to pick all the parts you want, I won't sell as many parts as I normally would. At least that's the way I envision it. If you want an ISL O2 with a different bezel on it, and I just give you the option to build it, yeah, you'll pay the price for it. But I'd rather you just buy the ISL O2 and then buy the bezel from me, and that way I get more, I get more revenue. It's a business decision. It may sound like a scummy business decision, or like I am, being unrealistic. But you guys understand the Your Watch Your Way program that I do, it is extremely intensive from a manual input standpoint. We need to kit the watch and the parts. We need to send it out to the modder. We need to get it back. We need to inspect it all to make sure it's all correct. And then it needs to go out. It goes through a totally separate channel than normal watches that we sell. And it's a lot of intensive manual labor for us. It's just outside the realm. People ask, why don't you just let us choose our own bracelet? Again, then every watch needs a new bracelet. Someone's going to have to put it on. When you're shipping so many watches, I'm a mom and pop store, but I definitely do more volume than probably most people consider. It's too messy. So no plans to do that at this point. What's the James Dennis 11? What's your favorite Islander you've released so far? I would say the ISL 18 for sure, and not only because it's become the most popular one. I just love it. I knew exactly what I wanted to do with it, and the blue dial, ceramic embossed insert, love it. Gabe Perk 30. Any plans on an in-house movement? No, absolutely not. No plans. I don't have the technical wherewithal, and I would never spend the research and development money to develop a movement. Developing a movement, probably I'm going to just wag it at $1 million to develop a movement in the engineering, the parts, everything else. Depends on how in-house you're talking. But starting from scratch and building a movement, yeah, not going to happen. How did you jump from engineering to selling watches? There's been videos on this on my past and where I came from. I just really briefly mechanical engineer, graduated in Cooper Union 1998. 3 months later, started aerospace job, worked there till 2011. Right around 2001, I kind of dabbled in wristwatches due to an interest that I had in a watch. Sold on eBay for a couple of years. 2003, launched a site. Here I am now 18 years later, and I left the engineering field in 2011. I do miss it, absolutely. There's a lot of knowledge up here, and I loved doing this stuff. Running a business, though, is not much unlike being an engineer. It is literally problem solving every day. There's a lot of customer service that goes along, but making all the bits and pieces fit together and making it work, definitely, it's like being a systems engineer. There's so much going on. All the pieces you got to make fit together. Do you own a physical store? No, probably never will. That's Regis Estevez. I probably never will. Who the heck wants to pay physical rent and have to be a slave to a store? My father owned a hardware store his whole life in Manhattan, and it basically literally killed him. So I will probably never own a physical store. Will there be a Swiss Movement Islander? And it's asked by RF 1984. Yes. Yes, I'm planning on it. It's more than in my brain at this point. It is kind of in a conceptual stage, so yes. Bracelet for ISL, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting to mention the people's names. Dog's Ear. Bracelet for ISL 53 and also the 54, yes, probably very soon. Maybe February, March-ish. Really cool. Going to be a, can't say the name, O-style bracelet. Have you considered a higher end, the casual horologist, who I've seen comment a lot? So, how you doing? Have you considered a higher end version of the Islander line? Yes, that SAR kind of crossover that I talked about, that will be the first higher end. It'll be using a Miyota 9015 movement, which other people have asked. 9015 movement, and it will be a little elevated in price, but I think you'll still find it extremely affordable. Planning on any Strader or Stratter.r asks, are you planning any quartz models and anything apart from doing just the same old NH Seiko movements? Yeah, Miyota 9015 is coming. Any other Miyota movements, probably never the lower end movements. I like to stick to the 9015 and or their variants. Any quartz models? Yes. Yes, I am planning on doing quartz models. Actually, it's more than planned. I think there's 4 watches that are past the conceptual stage and in the sample stage. I imagine we'll see them probably second to third quarter of the year. Favorite beer by Driver 8. Guys, I don't drink. I don't smoke. I never have. I am as cut and dry and plain as you see. I'm a very boring person in real life. People think I'm funny, but yeah, it's, of all my friends are all big time drinkers from college, and we all talk to each other every day over a big text group, and probably about 50 to 60% of the texts are about beer and alcohol and stuff, and it's kind of amusing. When we used to go out to dinner, they would know that I'm the guy getting the water or the seltzer. Safiu_K, how does the process work for new Islander creations? Could you share what steps are taken and how long it takes from start to finish? How does QC work? There's a lot there to answer. How are we doing on time? Yeah, about 8 minutes in. It depends what I'm doing. As you guys have definitely seen, the line is going in two directions. Homages and my own styles. The homages are relatively cut and dry. I kind of figure out, I develop like a plan. Everything the watch needs to be compatible with what movement I want in it, what my dial's gonna look like, and I kind of go that way. I'm not an industrial designer like Marvin from Hemmel is. I do everything in my brain. So that's like, the homage line is kind of easy to do because the watch is more or less predefined. I'm just taking your input and putting it into it. But a new watch, like you'll see, the ones that will come out later this year, yeah, it goes through conceptual design. Again, I am not the artist, but I have people that do it for me. They'll send me concepts. We work them out. I change them. I say, I want this to be not 42. I want it to be 40. I want the lug to be 21 and a half. No, I'm kidding. I would never do that. I want to shorten the lug to lug. I need, add the bezel. I want to look more. So we go through all that, and they keep fine-tuning it, and then, but it goes from a drawing. It goes to a sample case, which takes a few months to get. Set it up with a movement and a sample dial, and then you go into, and if it gets approval, which some watches don't get my approval, and then it goes through a whole process again. We go into mass production. All in all, if it's a new design, I would say 8 to 10 months is a safe bet from when we start to when I'm marketing it to you. How does QC work? QC is generally, I contract it out at the factory that is making it, and then I sample a bunch when I get them and make sure I am happy with them. And yes, I will tell you, you'll never find out what watches they were, but I have basically rejected a whole shipment because there's something wrong, and we fix it and we get back into it. Ben from Denver, will the Urban Gentry channel ever review an Islander? I don't know, it's up to Tristano. He has one definitely, or two I think, on loan from me because he has to check them out. It's up to him if he wants to review it. I do not give Islanders away for review. There was one rare exception. My God, I'm sorry, I forgot the guy's name. Jason, and he's in Aruba. He runs a channel, does great videos. But I had to cut him a deal on the watch because to send him a loaner and have him send it back from Aruba, the shipping was ridiculous, and I felt bad for the guy. So I just cut him a deal on the watch to kind of make up for, instead of him having to send it back. So that's, if you want to call that a paid review, it's not. So Trusano, it's up to him totally 100%. Any channel that wants to review a watch just have to reach out to me. I have a stack of samples. I give them out. You send it back. No big deal. Tyler J. Stockton, how long does it take an Islander from first concept to finished product? Like I said, like 8 to 10 months or so. I guess that's a repeat question. I heard a rumor, or KF Mansa, I heard a rumor that it's not good to play golf with an automatic watch. Any truth to that? Well, it depends what kind of golfer you are. If you're like me, which I took it up for like 1 or 2 summers, yeah, it's a bad idea. But if you're a consistently good shot, you're not hitting the grass, you're hitting the sweet spot every time, there's no vibration going through the club, there's no shock. I think it's okay. Would I still do it? I don't know if I was an excellent golfer. Probably not, because after all the wrist movement and everything, I don't know if that's really what you want to do, but I say really no problem. Riding a very loud motorcycle, probably not a good idea, because all those sounds are very low frequency. It's maybe, 20, 30 hertz, and there's a lot of jostling going on, and I would stay away from that. Ardam Graham, rate him, I don't know. How long until the first assembled in America Islander? I would say that's the second quarter of this year, and that ties into the quartz models that we spoke about. Nige MM. Are the rumors true that the Nautilus is to be discontinued? I obviously was not going to say anything, but I can tell you now if it is true. The blue dial, right? The 5711. So I don't care. Okay, Romeo. Or Rome of Fuqua? Romeo Fuqua? I don't know. Why does a Seiko brand watch cost more than Homage with better specs and a Seiko movement? Shouldn't Seiko be able to provide us better specs for less? Yes and no. This is an excellent question, but a lot of answering it would require me to give away probably too much information that I would care to divulge. I will just say pretty much, to use this clicheist thing, is Seiko has middlemen. They have two middlemen, okay? And that's the problem. I guarantee you Seiko makes a turtle for less money than if they had the same specs as an Islander, they could make it for less money than I can, obviously, because of mass production. There are so many levels that have to make money in the organization that by the time you see the watch, it's so much more expensive. And that's really the only thing behind it. Their QC issues, that's a whole nother ball game, chapter rings, bezels, whatever. They should be able to fix that stuff. I'm not talking about that. And no, that would not cost a whole lot more money. But do consider that in their Patty collection, not Patty, Patties, but Prospex collection, professional specifications, they are ISO certifying, ISO 6425 certifying every single watch. That is expensive, no matter what you say. So it has to meet all the specs. It is 100% testing, wet test on water resistance. That's time, and time equals money. So keep that in consideration also. But an excellent, excellent question. I am Ali Jr. Watch brand. How do you source parts and manufacturing? Being in the business for 18 years at this point, I know a lot of people. So I was just able to go through my channels and ask people to help me out, and people help me out. This industry is loaded with people that really suck, and it's loaded with people that are really awesome. I like to deal with the awesome people, and they help me out. Awesome. We all help out each other. How do you launch a new brand? For me, it was 17 years in the making. I didn't realize I was building a brand the entire time. You might not like the logo, but I built up a whole brand. Then when I released the watch, I already had the customer base for it. I kind of did a video on this. I think it was something like I did it all backwards. Where are we on time? 15 minutes in. Hopefully we're more than halfway through. Adam Badillo, what made you start your brand? Any struggles or things you've learned from starting the Islander brand? How do you know what customers are going to buy? That's all basically all one question. That comes from 18 years of experience. That's what I know what customers wanted to buy. And I started this brand. I started the Islander brand, specifically the ISL 0102 and the first few SKUs, simply because Seiko was discontinuing the SKX. The SKX was a model that I would sell, I forgot the numbers, 3,000 to 4,000 of a year. And it was a big bread and butter thing for me. So I saw the sunsetting of that watch happening, and I knew I had to do something. So I did something, and I'm proud to say that I sell more Islanders every day than I ever did SKXs at this point. So another nod for not changing the logo. Fele in Peugeot 260 asks, is an orange Monster homage in the works? And a Monster homage is in the works. I will tell you right now, foolishly, I did not do orange. I did 5 different colors, though. I did not do orange. I don't know why. It's a really good question, why. I question myself now. Those will come out probably in the next month or two. 1 of 3 cross. Do you have any future plans purely focusing selling Islander watches, or will you keep things the way they are? This is something that actually crossed my mind not too long ago. For now, I'm keeping the things the way they are. I think Islander watches are doing fantastic, but I believe it's the whole package of the store that kind of brings people in. So at this point, no plans. Loving what I'm doing. Military Mine did. I won't ask the question. You can go to Instagram and see it. Yes, that is exactly the place. Northwest corner, F16 nose cone sticking out the front, sticking out the back. I don't know if it's still up there right now. It was a mock-up for antenna patterns. M Nice Knives. What's your favorite brand and a favorite model from that brand? My favorite brand, I don't know if I ever even mentioned it, is Breguet. I don't own a Breguet, which is insane. You know, at this point I own 4 Rolexes. I could have bought a Breguet. I don't know. I don't know if I would ever even wear it, but I love everything they do. Oh, you have to wear it though, right? Maybe that's why I don't buy it, because you have to wear it. I am after a 228-206 this year, or maybe next year. But a Breguet, my favorite model would be probably the Parachute. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. Breguet is, started in 1880 something by Abraham Louis Breguet. Basically, one of the fathers of watchmaking, invented so many different things, the tourbillon being one of them, or the tourbillon, or whatever the hell you want to say. And the Breguet overcoil, which basically every watch spring has at this point. Micro of time. Any chance Islander will add a GMT second time zone watch? Yes. That goes in concert with the Swiss one. More than likely, E2E_watches asks, what are some of your favorite complications? I find thin watches like the Piaget Altoplano very intriguing. If you have not seen the Piaget Altoplano, which I'm probably pronouncing incorrectly, the Piaget part I got right, just Google it. Man, that thing is, it's like, it's so thin and it's beautiful. My favorite watch complication is a Rattrapant. I do not own a Rattrapant. You can get some for a fairly decent price. A Rattrapant is a split seconds chronograph. So much like you would use your digital watch to do lap timing, the Rattrapant is the same thing, except it's in mechanical form. That is awesome. I love the mechanics behind it. It's 2 seconds hands, and one's on a spring attached to the, so nifty. Good, I don't know why I highlighted this one. Good_Timothy. Hi, Mark. I mentioned a while ago, you mentioned you were doing an Islander version of the Monster. So, yes, I am. That is true. Ben Prout, where do you continue to find inspirations for new watch designs? Well, a lot of the homages, obviously, there's no real inspiration. And guys, I'm the first to admit it. There's no inspiration on that. I'm just seeing what people are doing. I'm like, I got to do that, and I'm going to make it better. Or I got to make it cheaper, and that's what I'm going to do. But a lot of the inspiration for a lot of stuff I do, almost all of it, just comes from listening to customers for all these years. So it comes from you guys, more than likely. Beer Mathwang, I guess tongue-in-cheek, asks, how much money do you make as a seller and reseller? I'm not going to tell you that, but I will tell you, if you want to maximize your potential, you have to run your own business. That's pretty much the way it goes. At my old job, which the other guy now knows where I worked, my old job, if I worked twice as hard, I was in military, so, DOD contracting. So maybe you got to raise to 5% if I work twice as hard. So there's no incentive, although I worked as hard as I could all the time. That's just my ethic. But when you own your own business, if you want to work twice as hard, you got the potential to make twice the money. So that to me is what I'm doing. I'm at 20 minutes. I think we're doing good, actually. Well, Grizzly Pete asked, what was your first car? It was my sister's that was handed down to me, a Chevy Cavalier RS 1989. Second car, Cavalier Z24, handed down from my brother, 1991. And then my first real car that I bought with my hard-earned working money was a Pontiac Grand Prix GT Green. I want to say it was a 98. That was awesome. Great day of my life when I was finally able to afford my own car and working. I still lived with my parents at the time, but still good stuff. Mr. Evans, 84, was aerospace your true passion, or was it business? Is there a reason you're not in the aerospace field anymore? Can we send watches in to modify? Well, watches to modify, a whole separate thing. You kind of can, but it doesn't go to us. If you buy the parts from us, you get a form, and you send it into a watchmaker that we recommend who does awesome work. My true passion, I guess, in life is definitely watches. I didn't realize it until being in aerospace for a bunch of years, but I love engineering. I loved aerospace engineering. I saw a lot of cool stuff. I also did a lot of cool stuff. A lot of it I can't say, but love the field, love problem solving, love working on stuff, and designing stuff from nothing and bring it to fruition, and it being used by the warfighter, saving people's lives, protecting the warfighter. It was awesome. I really dug it. CVN71OU182 asks, does Watchroom have a saturation point when charging with a flashlight? Absolutely. It would be, would this be, it exponentially approaches a maximum, so I guess theoretically you never get there, but after charging with a flashlight, for a few seconds, a powerful flashlight, you pretty much reach saturation point. Blanchard Watch Co. asks, how about a little history on how you got where you are now? Origin story. This video is on YouTube. Let's go check it out. It's one of those how I got started videos. It's a long video, probably as long as this one's going to be. All explained there. I think there's one more question. This is then we're done. Thank you. So I did pretty good. What's an Islander watch model you love to make but haven't because you don't think it would sell? Yeah, it's easy. Elaine Silberstein inspired timepieces. They resonate with me. If you don't know what they are, just look them up. Definitely a lot of you do. Crazy watches. I want to say they probably came out, was it the 80s? They're pricey nowadays. They're still pricey, but different colored hands, different shaped hands. Just really interesting, like an architect's perspective of a watch. Nifty, love it. Think it's super cool. But I don't think it would sell. When you're making your own watches, I make everything, virtually everything, in batches of a minimum of 100. So you have to take that into consideration. So to get 100 of them and maybe sell 10 of them and be like, oh, whatever. And now that I'm up to 70-something SKUs, you can do the math and see how many watches, that I have for sale. So it's a big number. It's a large investment. So I don't think I would invest in something like that. But that's it. This has been, I guess, my first Ask Me Almost Anything. If you liked it, just comment below and just let me know. And I'll do it again sometime in the future. If I didn't get to your question, I apologize. Maybe get a chance to ask it next time. And that'll do it. On this wrist, by the way, was my pre-ceramic Submariner. This has been Mark from LongIslandWatch.com. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you've not done so. Questions or comments, you can put them down below. Let me know if you like this. And I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.